There are mornings when I don't wake up because of an alarm clock, but because of a cramp in my leg. Every step out of bed feels like I'm carrying the weight of a long day that hasn't even begun. I forget things. I walk from one room to another and can't remember what I was going to do. In those moments, I tell myself, maybe I really am getting old. But is that truly just the natural course of aging? Or is something happening inside that I've been ignoring? We often believe vitamins are what keep our bodies strong, a kind of health insurance once we reach a certain age. But here's the truth. Not every vitamin is your friend. I used to take all kinds of them, based on what salespeople said, what ads promised, or just because everyone else seemed to be taking them. But the more I took, the less like myself I felt. Headaches, dizziness, numb legs, a sense of being lost and unbalanced. Until I started digging deeper and discovered some vitamins, when taken incorrectly, aren't just useless. They can quietly destroy an older person's health. Today I want to sit down and share with you, like two old friends chatting over a cup of tea, about 4 vitamins that we should avoid after 65, and 4 we actually need every single day. If you've ever felt concerned about your own health or someone you love, consider leaving a simple comment. I choose to live healthy, not overdo vitamins. It's a way for us to remind each other. Good health doesn't come from the number of pills we take, but from making the right choices. And if you think this video is worth sharing with your spouse, your loved ones, or even your neighbor, hit like and subscribe. Because sometimes just one small story can change the way someone takes care of themselves. You know what startled me the most? Realizing that not everything that sounds good is actually good for older adults. Some vitamins that were once hailed as lifesavers can, at a certain age, turn into a burden, a hidden danger quietly building inside the body. And the first one on that list is a very familiar name. It might even be sitting right now on your nightstand. 1. High-dose vitamin E. I remember it so clearly. For a long time, I truly believed vitamin E was the best choice to maintain health as I aged. A tiny soft gel capsule, marketed to support heart health, smooth skin, and protect against aging. It was hard to resist such a beautiful promise. Every morning, I took it without a second thought. But then, one late afternoon, while skimming through some medical articles, I stopped at a single line printed in small font. High doses of vitamin E may increase the risk of hemorrhagic stroke in adults over 65. I read it again and again. No way. That moment felt like finding out that a longtime close friend had never truly been good for me. Worse, might have been quietly harming me all along. You see, after age 65, our bodies aren't what they used to be. Blood vessels are more fragile, skin is thinner, blood clots more slowly, and most of us, to some extent, are already taking medications for heart health, blood pressure, or blood thinners like warfarin or aspirin. These medications thin the blood to help prevent clots. But when combined with high-dose vitamin E, over 400 IU per day, the risk is no longer theoretical. Science has shown that high doses of vitamin E can interfere with the body's natural blood clotting process, increasing the likelihood of internal bleeding. And even more frightening, some of this bleeding happens silently, without warning, like brain hemorrhages. Many cases of internal bleeding have occurred without anyone suspecting a harmless vitamin capsule was the culprit. I thought I was protecting my heart, but I came to understand I might have been pushing it closer to danger with every dose. Just imagine, a small slip in the bathroom. In the past, it might have left a bruise, but now, the bleeding won't stop. A minor cut that just won't heal. That's when your body is screaming, I don't need more vitamin E. Because the truth is, our bodies no longer process vitamins the way they did when we were young. Metabolism slows down. Excesses don't get flushed out as easily. They build up in the liver, in tissues, in blood vessels. And that's why vitamin E, a powerful antioxidant, when overdosed, backfires. It damages tissues and increases the risk of bleeding. Some studies have even shown that in older adults, especially men, high doses of vitamin E may be linked to a higher risk of prostate cancer. While not conclusive, it was enough to make me cautious. So the question is, should we completely eliminate vitamin E? The answer is no. Our bodies still need vitamin E, but in the right amount and from natural sources. You can get plenty of it from foods like sunflower seeds, almonds, spinach, and plant-based oils like wheat germ oil or canola oil. These sources are not only safer, but also come packed with other nutrients that help with absorption and balance. If you still choose to take it as a supplement, go for doses under 200 IU per day. And most importantly, talk to your doctor first, especially if you're on blood thinners or have a history of heart or blood pressure issues. Health in our later years is the most precious thing. Every decision, even something as small as whether or not to take a vitamin, can make a huge difference in our lives. Take a look at your medicine cabinet. That thing you thought was protecting you might be the very thing you need to say goodbye to. 2. Vitamin B9, folate, the cell booster that might be fading your memory. Folate, the name alone sounds friendly. It's linked to cellular health, blood production, and is often praised as a supervitamin during pregnancy. But what most people don't talk about is this. After age 65, folate is no longer the unconditional friend we once believed it to be. I remember back when I was younger, hearing doctors recommend folic acid supplements for pregnant women to prevent neural tube defects in babies. So naturally, I assumed folate was always a good thing, completely safe. It wasn't until I entered my senior years that I realized what's good when you're young can sometimes become risky as you age. You see, vitamin B9, another name for folate, plays a vital role in the body. It helps produce new cells, forms DNA, and maintains healthy blood. But in older adults, things aren't so simple. When folate builds up, especially from synthetic supplements or fortified foods, it can mask a deeply dangerous condition, vitamin B12 deficiency. And this is where things get scary. B12 deficiency is extremely common in older adults. After age 60, the body's ability to absorb B12 from food drops significantly due to reduced stomach acid. B12 is essential for nerves, the brain, and spinal cord. If it goes undetected, over time it can lead to permanent nerve damage. Here's the catch. When you consume too much folate, it can hide the signs of B12 deficiency on blood tests. Your doctor might look at your results and see everything as normal. Meanwhile, you're feeling tired, forgetful, unsteady, and thinking, it must be my age. But in truth, those symptoms could be the silent consequences of long-term B12 deficiency that no one has noticed. And once nerve damage sets in, recovery becomes extremely difficult, sometimes even impossible. I knew a friend, 68 years old, who was healthy, sharp, and full of life. Then in just a few months, he began forgetting things, struggling to focus, and even mixing up his grandchildren's names. His family thought he was starting to develop dementia, but after multiple tests, the root cause turned out to be a severe B12 deficiency masked by high folate levels from his diet and supplements. Sadly, by the time they discovered it, the damage had already taken hold. He was never quite the same again. That story made me wonder how many others out there are going through the same thing without ever questioning the pill they take each morning. Here's the truth. Folate itself isn't bad, but dosage and context matter deeply. Seniors don't need the same folate levels as pregnant women. According to the Institute of Medicine, older adults only need about 400 micrograms of folate per day, and most of that can come naturally from foods like leafy greens, beans, and whole grains. If you're already taking a daily multivitamin or eating folate-fortified foods like breakfast cereals and processed breads, you may already be getting more than enough. I've completely stopped taking separate B9 supplements. Instead, I've shifted to a diet rich in fresh, green vegetables, so my body can absorb folate in a safer, more natural way. And what I want to say to you is this. If you're approaching or over 65, consider getting a blood test that measures both B12 and folate. If your folate levels are high, ask yourself, could I be unintentionally hiding a deficiency my body's trying to warn me about? Don't let a vitamin you think is helpful be the reason your memory slowly fades, while you keep telling yourself it's just old age. Longevity isn't just about living longer. It's about staying sharp, so you can remember every moment, every familiar face, every laugh from the people you love. 3. Vitamin B3, niacin, cholesterol miracle, or a silent liver destroyer? Have you ever heard someone say, niacin is great for cholesterol? Just take it and your lipid levels will drop? And from there, you started taking one pill a day, hoping it would improve your circulation, protect your heart, and lower your stroke risk? I was once like that too. In my mind, niacin, also known as vitamin B3, was a kind of secret weapon against bad cholesterol. The media, advertisements, and even some advice floating around senior communities all seem to say, take it regularly and you'll feel healthier. But what I didn't see right away was the most dangerous part. You see, vitamin B3 does play a role in energy metabolism, nerve function, and circulation. But once it crosses a certain threshold, niacin stops being the friendly vitamin and becomes a harsh irritant to the liver, to the digestive system, and to your blood sugar levels. An aging body no longer responds the way it used to. The liver, our central detox filter, slows down. Blood flow is reduced. Organs that once flushed toxins efficiently now struggle. And in that context, high-dose niacin, especially over 1,000 milligrams per day, easily crosses the safety limit and becomes a burden. At first, the side effects seem harmless. Facial flushing, a hot tingling sensation, rapid heartbeat. Many people brush it off, thinking it's normal. But few realize these are early signs that blood vessels are being overstimulated and that the liver is starting to speak up. I once had a neighbor, just a few years older than me, still sharp and energetic. He took niacin daily, hoping to manage his cholesterol without needing statins. But after several months, he started feeling tired for no reason, lost his appetite, and had a slightly swollen belly. At a checkup, his liver enzymes were abnormally high. The doctor was clear. It was liver stress caused by niacin toxicity. What haunts me most isn't the symptoms. It's the way the damage quietly builds up day after day. No pain, no fever, no clear warning signs. Yet bit by bit, it erodes the liver of someone over 65 like us. And I wondered, how many people out there are trapped in the same cycle, taking it to be healthier, but unknowingly harming their bodies from the inside? The truth is, most older adults don't need high-dose niacin supplements, unless prescribed by a doctor for a very specific reason. Foods like salmon, chicken breast, brown rice, and mushrooms already provide the 14 to 16 milligrams of niacin needed daily. But store-bought pills, they may contain 500, 1,000, even 2,000 milligrams per dose. That's many times the safe upper limit. Niacin can also disrupt blood sugar, especially dangerous for those at risk for diabetes. It interferes with how the body uses insulin, causing unpredictable spikes and crashes. If you're managing your blood sugar with medication or a strict diet, niacin could undo all your hard work. Remember, the benefits may never come, but the harm can quietly accumulate in your liver. I'm not dismissing niacin entirely, but at this age, caution is never too much. If you're taking high-dose niacin, ask your doctor, do I really need this? And if you haven't been clearly diagnosed with lipid issues or don't have a specific medical instruction, maybe it's time to stop. Let your body rest. Let it return to its natural rhythm, instead of forcing it to carry yet another supplement every day. In old age, we don't need many things. We just need enough. Enough strength, enough clarity, and enough wisdom to avoid repeating mistakes born from a lack of information. 4. High-dose vitamin B6. When your legs go numb. And the culprit is a simple vitamin. I still remember that moment. The first time I stepped out of bed and my feet felt numb, as if they no longer belonged to my body. At first I brushed it off. Maybe I slept in a strange position. Maybe blood just didn't circulate well. But then it happened again and again, more often, lasting longer. One time I nearly fell rushing out the door because I couldn't feel the floor beneath my feet. I told myself, it's just old age. My nerves must be getting weaker. But the truth, it hit me like a ton of bricks. The real culprit was something I had been taking faithfully every morning, a simple vitamin B6 supplement. Sounds surprising, doesn't it? After all, B6, pyridoxine, is a well-known vitamin. It's advertised to boost energy, improve memory, and support the nervous system. You'll find it in nearly every multivitamin for seniors. And because it's water-soluble, most people assume any excess just flushes out. No harm done. But that's not entirely true. In high doses over time, vitamin B6 can build up in nerve tissue, especially in older adults whose kidneys and liver are less efficient at clearing it out. And once that happens, it starts to damage the very nerves responsible for sensation, beginning in your feet, slowly creeping upward. Tingling, burning, numbness in the soles of your feet and hands, the symptoms many of us chalk up to normal aging, may actually be signs of B6 toxicity. Scientific research shows that the safe upper limit for B6 in adults is under 100 milligrams per day. But in reality, many memory-boosting, energy-enhancing, or nerve-supporting supplements can contain 250% to 400% of that limit in just one capsule. Add a multivitamin, some fortified foods, and maybe another supplement or two, and you could be unknowingly overdosing on B6 every single day. One long-term study from Europe found that people over 60 who took high doses of B6 for more than 3 months had 3 times the risk of developing peripheral nerve damage compared to those who didn't supplement at all. And the scariest part? Once your nerves are damaged, recovery is extremely slow, or may never happen at all if it's not caught early. Imagine waking up one day and no longer feeling the ground beneath your feet. Walking, climbing stairs, going for a stroll, all become hazards. A fall, a fracture, a hospital stay, a loss of independence, and it all starts with a vitamin that was supposed to help you. I watched it happen to a dear friend, once a lively man who loved his morning walks. He ended up needing a cane, then a wheelchair. The root cause? Nerve damage from unknowingly taking too much B6 for 6 straight months. Don't let that be your story. Instead of reaching for supplements blindly, get your B6 from whole foods, things your body can absorb and regulate naturally. Bananas, chicken, tuna, potatoes, whole grains. That's all you need. Around 1.5 to 1.7 milligrams per day. Not 50, not 100, and certainly not 250. If you're taking memory pills, nerve support capsules, or a daily multivitamin, read the label carefully. If your total B6 intake exceeds 10 milligrams per day, especially in the form of pyridoxine hydrochloride, it's time to pause and reconsider. Old age doesn't have to mean pain, numbness, and shaky steps. It should be about walking freely, feeling the breeze on your skin, and enjoying each morning with grace. And sometimes all it takes to keep that freedom is to stop one small pill before it quietly steals your strength. We've just gone over 4 vitamins that may seem harmless, but can quietly cause serious harm once you're past 65. Some of them may even be sitting on your medicine shelf right now, just like they once were on mine. But don't worry or panic, because beyond the things we should avoid, there are still nutrients that are truly essential, like silent companions that help keep your body strong, your memory sharp, and your steps steady on every familiar path. And now it's time we explore 4 vitamins that you should maintain every day after age 65, as a gift to your long-term health and mental clarity. 1. Magnesium, the mineral that helps you sleep deeply, walk steadily, and rest easy at night. If there's one mineral that can help you sleep better, ease nighttime leg cramps, stabilize your heartbeat, and calm those nameless restless feelings, it's magnesium. I know, because I used to suffer from relentless insomnia. There were nights I'd wake up in the middle of my sleep, my legs twitching for no reason, a light sweat on my forehead, a racing heart, not sure if it was a bad dream or if my body was trying to tell me something. Night after night, I fell into a state of exhaustion I couldn't explain. Until one day, my doctor suggested something that sounded so simple. Maybe your body's low on magnesium. It seemed trivial at first, but it turns out, for people over 65, magnesium deficiency is one of the most common and overlooked issues. Magnesium is an essential mineral involved in over 300 biological processes in the body. It helps maintain a steady heartbeat, relaxes muscles, supports brain and nervous system function, regulates blood sugar levels, and plays a crucial role in sleep quality. Here's the issue. As you age, your body becomes less efficient at absorbing magnesium from food. Your kidneys may excrete more of it, especially if you're taking diuretics, acid reducers, or certain blood pressure medications, all of which are common in older adults. Not to mention how today's food supply is lower in nutrients due to depleted agricultural soil. And then, those unexplained leg cramps, restless nights, heart palpitations, or even moodiness and poor sleep could all stem from a magnesium deficiency you never even considered. I used to think I had mild hypertension or age-related anxiety, but after I started taking magnesium properly, I began to sleep more deeply. The nighttime twitching stopped. My heartbeat felt calmer. I woke up in the morning without that heavy, foggy feeling. It was as if something inside me had quietly been repaired. Something I couldn't see, but could definitely feel. If you've been experiencing symptoms like muscle tension, restlessness, rapid heartbeat, irritability, or trouble sleeping, your body may be calling out for magnesium. The recommended daily intake for older adults ranges from 250 to 400 milligrams per day, depending on diet and health status. But not all forms of magnesium are created equal. For example, magnesium oxide is cheap, but poorly absorbed and often causes diarrhea. Instead, look for forms like magnesium glycinate, magnesium citrate, or magnesium malate. These are gentler on the stomach, easier to absorb, and more suited for the sensitive digestion systems of seniors. You can also boost your magnesium through foods like dark leafy greens, spinach, kale, avocados, pumpkin seeds, almonds, black beans, bananas, and pure dark chocolate. But as mentioned, with modern food being so nutritionally depleted, supplementation is often a smart choice, especially if you're on medications that drain minerals. Magnesium doesn't work instantly like a painkiller, but when taken regularly in the right form and dosage, it quietly helps you sleep better, breathe easier, and feel, well, naturally stronger. And sometimes the most precious thing in old age isn't gaining another day. It's gaining a peaceful night, a night without tossing, without cramping, without chaos, just quiet rest. That's what magnesium has given me. And who knows, maybe it's what it will give you too. 2. Vitamin D3, the silent shield for your bones, heart, and immune system. Have you ever noticed how the older we get, the less we go out into the sun? Part of it is the discomfort of harsh sunlight, part of it is declining health, and part comes from how our routines become more confined indoors. I'm the same way. These past few years, I've spent most of my time inside. Each morning, I sit by the window and watch sunlight streaming through the trees, but I rarely step out into that warmth like I used to. And you know what? My body, just like me, has become reluctant to make vitamin D. When we're young, just 10 to 15 minutes of sunlight is enough for the skin to produce the daily required amount of vitamin D. But after age 60, this ability drops by more than half. Our skin no longer converts sunlight into vitamin D the way it used to. Combined with staying indoors, using sunscreen, or living in low sunlight regions, vitamin D deficiency has become alarmingly common among older adults. I used to think vitamin D was just for strong bones, but it turns out it's so much more than that. Vitamin D3, the natural form your body creates from sunlight, not only helps absorb calcium into the bones, it also acts as a key that activates your immune system, supports cardiovascular health, boosts mood, and even helps preserve memory. Numerous studies have shown older adults who are low in vitamin D are more prone to catching the flu, take longer to recover when ill, and have a higher risk of chronic conditions like diabetes, hypertension, and even cancer. There was a long stretch of time when I felt fatigued without explanation. I slept poorly. My mood was off. My joints ached like I'd been beaten from the inside out. Then a blood test revealed something surprising. My vitamin D levels were shockingly low. After a properly guided supplementation routine, within just a few weeks, I noticed a real change. Fewer minor illnesses, a better mood, and a lighter step. The remarkable thing is, vitamin D3 doesn't just prevent disease, it might actually help you live longer. A large-scale study from Europe showed that people with higher levels of D3 had a 30% lower risk of death compared to those who were deficient. including death from heart disease, cancer, and respiratory conditions. So how much is enough? Most experts recommend that people over 65 take 1,000 to 2,000 IU of vitamin D3 per day. In severe deficiency cases, higher doses might be needed, but always under medical supervision and confirmed by blood tests. One important note, always choose D3, cholecalciferol, not D2, because D3 is better absorbed and more similar to what your body naturally produces from sunlight. In addition to supplements, you can also get vitamin D3 from foods like salmon, sardines, egg yolks, beef liver, and fortified dairy products. But with age, dietary restrictions, and weaker digestion, supplements are often the most reliable and convenient option. And don't forget, vitamin D is fat-soluble. Take it with a meal that contains healthy fats to improve absorption. Old age is a time when our bodies need protection, not from more medications, but from foundational nutrients that help us defend ourselves from within. Vitamin D3, when supplemented correctly, is exactly that silent shield. It doesn't just block illness. It helps you stand taller, walk steadier, and wake up each day with renewed vitality. Don't let a quiet deficiency slowly break down your health. Check now to make sure your body's getting enough sunlight, whether from the sky or from a tiny capsule holding nature's strength. 3. Vitamin B12, keeping your memory intact and your steps steady as you age. Forgetfulness, unsteadiness, feeling disoriented in your own familiar home? How many times have you told yourself, it's probably just old age? I used to think that too, until I realized it might not be aging, but something silently dangerous, a vitamin B12 deficiency. Vitamin B12, also known as cobalamin, is an essential nutrient for the brain, nervous system, and blood formation. It maintains the protective sheath around your nerves, myelin, supports signal transmission, helps preserve cognitive function, and plays a key role in balance. But here's what most people don't know. After age 60, your body's ability to absorb B12 from food drops significantly. And the reason isn't poor diet. It's because the stomach no longer produces enough hydrochloric acid, which is needed to separate B12 from the protein in food. On top of that, common medications like metformin for diabetes and acid-reducing drugs, like omeprazole, make B12 absorption even harder. The result? A long-standing B12 deficiency, without you even knowing. It doesn't hit like sharp pain. It doesn't scream for attention. It creeps in like fog, slowing your reflexes, making your limbs clumsy, your memory fade like an old movie reel. I used to walk into a room and forget why I went there. I forgot where I put things, forgot familiar names, even forgot appointments I made just that morning. At first, I blamed it on being scatterbrained. But then, one day I lost my balance going down the stairs. That's when I knew this wasn't just about aging. A simple blood test told me everything. My B12 levels were below the minimum threshold, and from that point on, everything changed. After just a few weeks of proper B12 supplementation, I felt the difference clearly. Sharper memory, renewed confidence while walking outdoors, and mental clarity in conversations with my grandkids. The staggering unsteadiness, it all began to fade away, like fog lifting under the morning sun. Research shows that B12 deficiency in older adults doesn't just affect memory. It significantly raises the risk of depression, dementia, and Alzheimer's disease. The longer B12 is lacking, the greater the chance of irreversible nerve damage. What's heartbreaking is how many seniors are misdiagnosed with age-related dementia, when in fact, their lives could drastically improve with proper B12 supplementation. So what's the right way to supplement? Choose methylcobalamin or cyanocobalamin, the two most easily absorbed forms of B12. For older adults who have absorption issues, sublingual under-the-tongue tablets or B12 injections are far more effective than standard oral pills. Recommended doses usually range from 500 to 1,000 micrograms daily, depending on the level of deficiency and your health condition. B12 is a water-soluble vitamin, so excess amounts are flushed out, making it low risk when taken correctly. If you've never had your B12 checked, ask your doctor for a simple blood test. If your levels are under 400 picograms per milliliter, Your body may already be mildly deficient, and you can still turn things around before it's too late. Don't wait until your memory starts to blur to pay attention. Don't let one bad fall rob you of your confidence and independence. At this age, what's most precious isn't having a superhuman memory. It's preserving the memories you already have. It's not about running fast. It's about walking steady without fear of falling. Vitamin B12, small but powerful, could be the difference between an old age filled with struggle and one that's strong, clear, and lived fully, one moment at a time. 4. Omega-3, when one drop of oil can nourish your memory, heart, and later years. Not remembering your grandchild's name, staring at a loved one and taking a few seconds to recognize them, talking mid-conversation only to feel like a part of your brain is disconnected. Have you ever experienced moments like that? I have, and at that moment, I was deeply afraid. Not because I forgot, but because it felt like I was slowly losing pieces of myself. That's when I started learning more about a nutrient, one that's often overlooked but acts like a stream of memory oil, quietly nourishing us as we age. Omega-3, especially its two key forms, EPA and DHA. Omega-3s are essential fatty acids that the body cannot produce on its own. They must come from food or supplements, and they're not just heart health nutrients, as many believe. They are fundamental to brain health, memory, joints, and even emotional well-being. Over 60% of the brain is made up of fat. Of that, DHA, a type of omega-3, makes up a significant portion of the cerebral cortex and retina. Without enough DHA, nerve cells slow down, responses weaken, and memory begins to blur, like fog weaving through the wrinkles of old memories. EPA, DHA's companion, is the body's anti-inflammatory warrior. It supports cardiovascular health, reduces joint inflammation, and keeps the circulatory system flowing smoothly. It helps keep blood vessels flexible and reduces the risk of strokes and heart attacks. The nightmares of life after 65. I used to ask myself, I eat well, so why am I still tired and forgetful? The answer came through a blood test. My omega-3 reserves were nearly gone. And I wasn't alone. A major study in the US revealed that over 68% of people over 60 are deficient in omega-3s, simply because they don't eat enough fatty fish or don't know how to supplement properly. The consequences go beyond memory loss, including joint pain, chronic inflammation, and a weakening heart. After I began supplementing omega-3 regularly, I felt a subtle but powerful shift. Memories grew clearer, thoughts felt sharper, I slept more deeply, and my legs felt less sore in the morning. It was as if my body had been lubricated, smoother both in motion and in thought. You don't need extremely high doses. Just 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams of combined EPA plus DHA per day is enough for most older adults. Those with heart disease, high cholesterol, or arthritis may be advised by their doctor to take more. The best sources of omega-3 are fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines. But if you don't eat fish regularly or dislike the smell, look for purified fish oil capsules that are tested to be free from heavy metals, and choose triglyceride or ethyl ester forms for better absorption. If you're vegetarian or allergic to seafood, there's still a solution. Algae oil, which contains DHA, a plant-based, clean, and effective source of omega-3. One small tip: take your omega-3 after a meal that contains some healthy fat to maximize absorption and avoid fishy burps. Old age can be the most beautiful chapter of life. If your memory stays intact, your mind stays clear, and your conversations aren't interrupted by moments of mental silence. Omega-3 isn't a magic cure, but it's a bridge that can help carry you through the years ahead with grace and strength. Don't let forgetting your grandchild's name become normal. Don't let every sentence feel like a struggle to recall words. Let your brain be lubricated with something it's quietly missed for years. Just one small drop a day might be enough to preserve the entire sky of memories shining behind your eyes. We can't stop time from passing, but we can choose how we move through it, with a healthy body, a clear mind, and a heart always open to welcome new seasons of sunshine. After this video, you might find yourself looking at your medicine cabinet with fresh eyes. taking out a few pills you don't really need, adding in the nutrients that truly matter, and most importantly, gaining the knowledge to care for yourself wisely, gently, and with love. Because sometimes just changing a few small capsules is enough to change the course of your entire life journey. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share it with your loved ones. Because who knows, one small share today could be someone's big turning point tomorrow. And if you want to learn more about building a memory-friendly diet, check out the other video now appearing on your screen, or choose a suggested video from our channel to continue your journey toward healthy, smart living after 65. See you in the next video, where we won't just live longer, but live better every single day.